Shalom, shalom, Mishpaka. I just wanted to get on here and talk about a couple of things. Early this Booker. Many times when we go through things, the enemy uses what we go through to try to get us stuck. And if we get stuck, it hinders us from propelling forward. It hinders us from operating and reaching the divine assignment that we are to do following Yahushua HaMashiach. So it's important that we heal, that we are restored, that we are set free by any places of trauma in our lives, so we can do the work of Yahushua HaMashiach. And I wanted to reference this because I know that there's many people who have gone through all many types of hurt. And when you get hurt, it's easy to choose the pathway of bitterness. And it's easy to allow that bitterness to rule your life and your actions thereafter. But when you heal, you don't allow bitterness to pull you down anymore. And the reason why this is important, because we are called to do the high calling. And when it means high calling, and I'm going to read Philippians 3:14, it's letting us know that we have to operate at a higher level. And because we have to operate at a higher level, that means we can't allow ourselves to be pulled down even by negative emotions. Because even negative emotions, when you really began to study that, is negative ruach kov. So if you have anger, bitterness, strife, gossip, envy, jealousy, hate, malice, contention, all of these are negative emotions that prevent you from elevating in the spirit. So I'm going to read Philippians. I'm going to start at verse 13, but it's chapter 3:13. And it says, "Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind, and reaching forth unto those things which are before. I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of Yahuwah in Hamashiach Yahushua." So it says, I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of Yahuwah in Hamashiach Yahushua. So this pressing is when you have to press towards something. This is letting you know that there is opposition. There is going to be a resistance. But don't allow any traumatic situation in your life to keep you stagnant and to keep you from pressing toward that high calling. I'm going to share a couple things in my past. Even when, before I was even in the truth, when I was in church, there was a time in my life I was abused in church, had a lot of church hurt, all of these things. Because of those things, I was good on going to church. I knew church wasn't it. You know, when you are a PK, which my grandfather was a pastor, when you start seeing the leaders of, the quote-unquote church do all kind of manner of sin, then you really began to realize, okay, this isn't righteous. And I didn't really know the level of things I know today about how the transferring of spirits, the altars that people are building. So you're becoming part of that altar in these places. If I allowed that to bind me, which it did in my younger years, until Yahushua HaMashiach set me free. So that's why I tell people today, no matter what your situation, no matter what your story, Don't allow it to bind you with bitterness. Don't allow it to bind you where the work of Yahushua is being hindered. The best thing to do in any type of situation where you are hurting and you have been traumatized or have been in a place of trauma is to lay it at the feet of Yahushua HaMashiach. And I promise you that there's no better place to do that. There's no better place to get your healing than at the feet of Yahushua HaMashiach. The enemy wants you to cleave into your hurt. The enemy wants you to cleave unto your bitterness. The enemy wants you to cleave unto revenge. All of those things will profit you nothing. Nothing. But best believe Yahuwah is a righteous judge. Best believe Yahuwah is your best defense. Best believe Yahuwah will protect you. But when you take these things and put them in your own hands, you are standing in the place of your Maker. So when you stand in the place of your Maker, you prevent him from stepping in. And I'm going to reference even Joseph in the Bible. He was cast into the pit for some time. And he was tired of being in that pit. He was innocent. And what did he do? He put his confidence in man. And when you read that, you realize because he put his confidence in man, he was there for a longer period of time. Our hope is in Yahuwah. So when people want reactions out of me, people want me to do certain things because of this or that, no. My confidence is in Yahuwah. When you go through these things, it's an opportunity for you to purge. It's an opportunity to reflect on how and what you are to learn, not by way of man, but by the way of Yahuwah, because it's an opportunity for you to press towards the mark of the high calling that you have been called to do. That means press past all the negative emotions and let it go and choose the high calling of Yahuwah in Yahushua HaMashiach. Only through him is deliverance. Only through him is healing. He will righteously judge all things. But when people choose to bandwagon it, want to get people to feel negative with them, want to pull people into their drama, that is not righteousness. There is no evidence in Scripture. There is none of that in Scripture where you're literally trying to pull people into a side. But what Yahuwah will do is say, whose side are you leaning on? Are you leaning on my side? Or are you on Hasatan's side? These are the only two sides, y'all. Just to let y'all know. There is no third side. So is your fruit pressing towards Yahuwah? Is your fruit ascending past all carnality? Is your fruit dying to your flesh every day? Because if you are advocating for people to hate other people, that's carnality. And this is a dangerous place. And the only, like I was saying, in my experience with the church, I'm going to use that as a reference. Yes, when children are being abused sexually and molested, these things, like in my situation, require obviously quick intervention. But at the end of the day, Don't let any of those situations bind you to the depths of hell. Even when people don't realize, this is what you need to know, even for your children, if they go through any type of abuse, any type of sexual abuse, any type of molestation, any type of rape, that is an initiation. So we often are taught in this society, which we know they should get reprimanded, whoever does those wicked things, for sure. But we also need to focus on the healing, the deliverance of that child. And that healing and deliverance is usually the child who's abused really usually just wants to be made whole again. And that's not through a corrupted system. That's through the face of Yahushua. That's through deliverance and seeking Him to heal and set her free from all of the spirits of perversion that get attached by such initiations. So remember that no matter what you may have experienced, no matter what makes you bitter, lay it all at Yahushua's feet. Because I struggle with that. But when I met Yahushua HaMashiach, I was healed. I was delivered from PTSD. I was delivered from the trauma of my childhood. And I will tell you this, to know shalom, to know peace, to not always feel this heavy weight, only Yahushua HaMashiach can give you that. To not always be so stuck in a situation that has you bound, that's years and years old. Only Yahushua HaMashiach can give you that. And mine was a divine encounter. But what I do know is if you press towards Yahushua, seek Him diligently, you will find Him. So I encourage everyone who may be bound by any levels of trauma, and it may not even be to that degree, press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of Yahuwah in Yahushua HaMashiach. There is no greater work, no greater thing than to be obedient and to be submissive to Yahuwah. And that when you press high and you ascend beyond all of the noise, beyond all of the trauma, you will find yourself made whole by Yahushua HaMashiach, because He is faithful. And by His stripes we are healed. By His stripes we are delivered. By His stripes we are set free. So when you go through negative situations, always remember, how can I press higher to my high calling that I am called to do in Yahuwah? How is my character supposed to press higher? How is my behavior supposed to press higher? When people cuss me out, what am I supposed to do? Press higher. When people try to hurt me, what am I supposed to do? Press higher. This is the work. This is the reflection of what true salvation looks like. Yahushua Mashiach died, a person who knew no sin, sacrificed His life willingly, laid down His life for us. He said, those who reign with me will also have to suffer. That means we're going to go through some things. That means we're going to be challenged in some very uncomfortable ways. So what are we supposed to do? Press higher. Press higher. And don't let anyone make you stagnant in bitterness. So I just want to give that word to you all. Much shalom, much ahava. Shalom, shalom.